Naso here from IPR, and it's been about a month since you've seen me since Hurricane Ike, but I'm back because the tropics are back. Here's the latest view of the Atlantic. Nana, we're not going to talk about. It's dissipating up here in the eastern central Atlantic, and we're not going to have to deal with that. We do have a little area to the south of that that could briefly become a depression or a storm before getting merged into what's left of Nana. We do have a new tropical depression that we're going to talk about in the eastern Caribbean that's forecast to become Tropical Storm Omar and then hit Puerto Rico and then become a hurricane as it heads on out. And then an invest area that is looking increasingly likely to become our next storm, which would be Paloma if it develops. So we're getting pretty far down the alphabet this year. Here's the latest on TD15 as of 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time is at 14.8 north, 69.9 west. Winds were 35 miles per hour, gusting to 45. Nearly stationary, 1,006 millibars. It could really become Omar at any time and head up over the next 2 days towards Puerto Rico, make landfall with about 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, and then as it's pulling away, become a hurricane briefly and then weaken as it heads on out. But again, the cone could be as far west as hitting Hispaniola or as far east as hitting the northern Leeward Islands. Again, it's moving off to the northeast, not straight east like Hurricane Lenny back in '99. Of course, that was almost a Category 5 hurricane. This is quite a bit different than that. But nevertheless, it is still something we're going to have to contend with. There's the visible satellite imagery, and again, the center appears to be right in this general region, and it is undergoing some wind shear, and that should keep it in check. The infrared satellite imagery you can see does show that convection really blowing up there, the gray cloud tops. That is a sign that it is trying to strengthen despite the unfavorable winds, although they may be lessening just a little bit. Regardless, it's going to bubble on up and then head towards Puerto Rico, and it could be a lopsided hurricane even before it gets there, but really the main threat will likely be heavy rainfall. That's going to be what we're dealing with there. Now, in the western Caribbean, you can see this twist here close to Honduras and Nicaragua. This is our invest, and this could very well become a depression or a storm the next few days, and as long as it stays over water, conditions do look favorable for intensification. Now, the latest model guidance suggests that it's going to continue north and then move back west, but there is some indication that it may be a little bit more towards, say, the northwest Caribbean or the Yucatan or even western Cuba. The current motion is to the north-northeast if you initiate the low where it looks to be trying to develop, and that means that these models that have it way over here may have to be adjusted further to the north and west, which means that if something does develop and stays over water, the western Caribbean, October, favorable upper-level winds, we could be looking at potentially a late-season hurricane coming out of this, and again, that name would be Paloma. Again, it's too early to say if it does develop, where it would go, and how strong it will get, but certainly interest from the Yucatan, Honduras, Nicaragua, all the way back towards Jamaica, and even the south coast of Florida would want to keep an eye on this system. There's a look at both of them again. Got to say, TD15 does look like it's trying to strengthen, but again, the center is over here, you have to remember, and that shear is going to continue to help push it on off to the northeast along with the flow, but it should lessen just enough to allow it to become a strong storm or a hurricane by the time it's near or over Puerto Rico, and then head on out. The system here in the western Caribbean looking very interesting. If it stays over water and starts to spin up, we could be looking at a significant tropical cyclone impacting the northwest Caribbean. That is, if it stays over water. If it heads towards land, it'd be a much weaker system. We'll have to wait and see on that. I'm Mike Naso from IPR and PodWeather.com. Stay tuned. I'll have more next time.